Hello everyone, welcome back to the Hope Collective channel. Today I've been guided to start off my pick a card, selecting 4 groups, 4 piles, 4 significator cards from the Tea Leaf Oracle. Spirit guides, help me select the cards for the significators of each pile of this pick a card. And also, spirit guides, is there a topic or theme? No, they're saying this is just going to be a different topic or theme for each of the 4 piles. This is also the first time I've been guided to use 4 piles instead of 3 for a pick a card. Okay. Okay. Let's see what we have. For pile 1, we have firecracker, excitement. Awesome. Seems like we might be finding out what you have to be excited about if you are drawn to pile 1. For pile 2, we have leg, stepping into a new experience, new beginnings, what's on the horizons for you. For pile 3, we have arrow. You are on the right path regarding some aspect of your life. That'll be exciting to find out what that's about. And teardrops, great personal sorrow for pile 4. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm getting the energy of comfort for piles 3 and 4, like reassurance that you're on the right path and redirection for any areas where you might need to be guided to stay on the quote-unquote straight and narrow, and with the teardrops card for pile 4, comfort for areas where you might have been suffering recently or might be currently suffering. So take a moment to tune into which of these piles, whether it's one or multiple or all of them, you are connecting with as resonating and feeling like you have messages to hear in that pile from your higher self or your spirit guides. And I will see you at your reading. Hello, pile 4. Welcome to your reading. This is your group if you chose the Teardrops Tea Leaf Oracle card with the keywords Great Personal Sorrow. I'm not sure how this is going to fit into the rest of the reading yet, but right away what I'm getting is this energy of needing to not hold back tears or other expressions or releases for emotions, feelings, especially sorrow or sad feelings, negative feelings, unwanted feelings. I'm being drawn to Light Seers Tarot to get started with the rest of our messages. And I was drawn to look at the back of the deck before I even started shuffling, and we have the tower here. So yes, there's a message here not to resist the crumbling of whatever is crumbling in your life or in terms of your walls to emotions or to feeling. If you feel like you don't currently have a safe space to allow your walls to feeling to crumble, then it's time to create one so that you can, have an evening or afternoon or day free to watch a sad movie to make yourself and let yourself cry, or a time home alone where you can scream into a pillow without feeling like or worrying about disturbing anyone. And I'm being drawn to this image of the nuts here, the acorns next to this squirrel at the bottom of the tree in this tower card. There's a little bit of an urging from the universe with a carrot. Hey, on the other side of you letting these walls crumble, there is reward of some kind. There are fruits for your labors. There's a sense of, if you allow yourself to feel the negative feelings, that's going to make room for you to feel positive feelings that you've been wondering why you haven't been feeling. You've been perhaps wondering why you haven't been able to feel as happy as you'd like recently. And your capacity for that will be opened up by you clearing space from allowing the release valve to be turned on. You know, the lightning and thunder in this card, it's like you need to let the storm happen before it can pass. And emotions get stored in the body as electromagnetic charges, so that the lightning is very apt for that. Breathing through those feelings is like breathing the electromagnetic charge out of the body. It really is like opening a release valve. And an analogy that's often used in therapy is that you can't turn the volume down or up on only specific feelings. If you turn the volume down on all your feeling, on one feeling, it turns it down on all of them. So that resonates with, or applies to, aligns with this message about allow your hesitation to feel to be eased by knowing that allowing yourself to feel these emotions to the fullest, and that sort of balls to the wall way is a phrase that is coming through, will allow you to feel joy and excitement and enthusiasm and peace and contentment to the fullest. And also, I'm being told, picture it as a rainstorm. Picture it as just allowing the rain to fall fast and hard, knowing that you will feel a sense of cleansed peace afterward. See yourself as the land under the rainstorm. See yourself as the rock against which the waves break, to use a quote from a Sarah J. Maas book. If you've ever read A Court of Silver Flames, you'll recognize that in that book. Excuse me. Pardon me, I had something caught in my throat. In that book, characters use a meditation where they envision themselves as the rock against which the waves break, and they repeat that like a mantra to themselves to remind themselves that there are aspects of themselves that are constant no matter what circumstances they find themselves in, and that all circumstances are temporary and can be allowed to wash over you. And you're being guided to see emotional turmoil in that light, see it as a storm, and you can't bottle it up. You can't bottle lightning. If you do, it will shatter the glass and create a lot more destruction. It'll harm you if you try to bottle it up and end up with shattered glass stabbing you. Whereas if you simply allow the storm to pass, it'll actually be a lot more painless than you realize it can be. That's the message here. Yes, these emotions are painful, but there's not this... They don't entail the level of suffering that you've been conditioned to think they do. And allowing this storm to pass unimpeded will actually help you reprogram yourself to realize that, will help teach you that. So be open to that possibility and go, okay, let's experiment with this and find out if that really is true. And you'll find out for yourself. A lot of times there's a pain that we associate with negative emotions that actually comes from the feeling of compression and pressure that happens when we bottle them up. Because it is like bottling up a fizzy drink, like trying to bottle lightning. It's trying to get out. And it's not trying to get out because it's out to get you. It's simply the nature of what it is. It is energy. It needs to be in motion. And it doesn't belong trapped inside your body. Let it out. It's like, letting a squirrel out of a trap. The butterfly is ready to fly from the cocoon. And there's a sense of there might be aspects of yourself that get dissolved and then renewed into something you don't recognize as a result of doing this. And that's a good thing. So be open to finding out who you are and how you see yourself on the other side of this, and be open to having circumstances be illuminated to you in a different light on the other side of this. Like the landscape in the dark looks completely different than the landscape in the light of day. So after the storm passes and light shines, landscape also looks completely different in the rain than it does when it's dry. So after the storm passes, when the light shines, you might see, oh, these circumstances actually, they looked so scary when they were only illuminated by moonlight and lightning. There were all these shadows, and I couldn't tell what was a tree and what was a monster. I'm hearing that Of Monsters and Men song. Wait, no. I think there is an Of Monster. Okay, I'm hearing two songs. Yes. I think it's called Little Talks, the Of Monsters and Men song, where they're talking about, I don't like walking around this old and empty house. Take my hand, I'll walk with you, my dear. The stairs creak as I sleep, it's keeping me awake. It's the house telling you to close your eyes. So there's this reframing happening in that conversation between the characters in that song. It's like, oh, is the house scary, or is the house just singing you a lullaby? And then similarly, Out of the Woods by Taylor Swift, all the monsters turned out to be just trees. That's a real, that's the message that I'm getting here. And it's not to invalidate the sources of your sorrow. The sources of your sorrow were very real wounds. And with this pile, I'm really getting strong energy that these are old wounds. So the sources, those wounds, were real. They were devastating. Right now, though, it's like the original wounds were the trees, and right now you're jumping at shadows because they've cast very long shadows all the way into the present from, maybe 30 years ago, maybe 60 years ago, maybe 15 years ago. And you don't actually have to consign yourself to living that way. You don't actually need to live that way, jumping at shadows and not daring to look at what the source of the shadow is. Yeah, it's like the turn around and face the actual tower and see, oh, okay, that's the shape of it. That's the real thing that hurt me all those years ago. And of course, like, there's a sense of this compassion for yourself and this relief of course this broke me at the time. Of course this overwhelmed me at the time. It's like being struck by lightning. It's too much for your system to handle. It overwhelmed you. It fritzed the system. It fried the nerves. So of course you shut down in light of that. But in the present, we're back to this make a safe space for yourself theme, because in the present you are actually safe from the threat that overwhelmed you at the time. And so you can bring healing to that wound and face that fear and feel the overwhelm of it without actually having your system fritzed. I hope that makes sense. You can feel all the emotions of it as if it's happening right now without actually being in danger. And because of that, because there's no present danger from this thing that happened in the past, the feelings that were too much to allow to come and go at the time can now be felt to the fullest, and that allows them to pass, because that's the nature of emotions in the nervous system, is resisting them causes them to persist, but as soon as they are allowed to flow and be felt to the fullest, they then ebb. And some it's a matter of 3 seconds, some it's a matter of 3 minutes or 3 hours, or sometimes there's a whole cascade, a whole waterfall, a whole group of emotions, and so it takes 3 days. But emotions themselves individually are very fleeting, and it's a matter of uncorking that resistance, uncorking that bottle, and letting the lightning flash. And the relief waiting for you on the other side, that relief that happens after a really good cry, it's like, to say that it's worth it falls so far short of the mark. Your worth, getting to live your life unburdened by this jumping at shadows and this fear of a tower or a monster from many years ago that has no right to be casting a shadow on your present day life anymore. You can take your life back from this. You're more than ready, and you have all your spirit guides and all your resources on your side, flanking you to support you and see you through this and hold your hand through this. You will be seen through this by allies. Knight of Cups, yes. What was I just saying? You will be seen through this by allies. You have people on your side who are offering real unconditional love to you. And they will see you through this, and that energy will see you through this. I'm being drawn to this bowl. It reminds me of a singing bowl because it looks very similar to my singing bowl. So you might find that singing bowl meditations kind of help you set the tone of a safe space, help you soothe your nervous system so that you can feel kind of anchored and grounded through this experience of letting yourself have a good cry and a good release. Or you might find that they help you restore your nervous system to a soothed, relaxed baseline after you have your catharsis and help you come back to center and anchor yourself. And remember, we have this picnic here too. Remember to, hydrate yourself, feed yourself, take solace in the fundamentals of self-care at this time. And we have the letter here. Use journaling. Allow yourself to write or speak out loud everything that comes to mind, everything that arises from your heart and from the depths of your sorrow and of your soul. Really allow all of it to come out so that you don't need to be haunted anymore. This poem, Royal Heart by Andrea Gibson, has been coming up a lot for me lately, and one of the first lines in it is, remember, forgiveness is not a tidy grave. Actually, I should backtrack, because the poem starts with, you'll never be let down by anyone more than you will be let down by the one you love most in the world. That's how gravity works. That's why they call it falling. That's why the truth gets harder to tell every year. You have more to lose, but you can bury your past in the garden by the tulips, water it till it grows so alive, you belong to yourself again. When you belong to yourself again, remember, forgiveness is not a tidy grave. It is a ready, loyal knight kneeling before your royal heart. Call it in your royal heart. Tell it bravery can never be measured by a lack of fear. It takes guts to tremble. It takes so much tremble to love. Every first date is an effing earthquake. So this part about not burying your past. You're being called to excavate your past from inside your body so that it doesn't haunt your body and your system and your mind anymore. And water yourself. Take really solid, basic, fundamental care of yourself. Feed yourself, fruits and grapes and vegetables and give yourself clean, fresh water. Like really water and feed your system like you would a garden. Tend to yourself like you would a garden or a farm or a beloved pet. Take care of yourself the way you would your horses or your butterfly garden. Because of that part about water it till it grows so alive, you belong to yourself again. This is your time to oh so gently take your life back by prying it oh so gently out of the hands of your terrified past self who is clinging so hard to the defenses, the walls that they needed to protect them in that moment that something devastating happened that you no longer need anymore. You actually need to gently let go of those walls so that you can feel the feelings that were too overwhelming at the time, and so you can be released from the grip of this past experience, and you can have a fresh start, like these roses, like this open field, like these butterflies emerging from the cocoon. And when you belong to yourself and forgive yourself, it's that part about calling your royal heart. Remember that it's normal to be scared going through this experience, and it's normal to be scared opening up to love, because there is this feeling of there's love knocking at your door. The Knight of Cups does signify that. especially this Knight of Cups, who in particular is kind of a romantic suitor. Regardless, some of you, there is an energy here, some of you are entertaining a suitor, so to speak, who you're scared to let in, and that is, like, if this applies to you, the feeling from spirit, from energy is, you're aware that this fear is clouding your vision of whether this person is right for you or not, and you're aware that you need to do some shadow work, do some emotional processing of the triggers that this attempt to open up to love is bringing up for you, in order to be able to identify how do you actually feel in the present, and do you actually like this relationship and this person, and do you want to continue with them? For the majority of you who are in that situation, the answer is going to be yes, because we have this very loving Knight of Cups here. But if the answer turns out to be no, that's fine too. The important part is instead of making yourself out to have something wrong with you because you need to do this processing, recognize that part about it's normal. It takes guts to tremble. You know, fear is a defining characteristic of bravery. There is no need for courage or bravery if fear wasn't there first. It's normal to have to do some of these things with shaking hands. Speak your mind even if your voice shakes is one of my favorite quotes. So encourage and soothe and assure and reassure yourself with that knowledge of this is normal, this is common, this is ordinary, for you to be facing some fears that maybe have your guts trembling. And take solace in the fact that you're not alone. There are thousands of other people every day who are going through something just like this and coming out the other side. This is not going to be the death or the end of you. This is something that humans routinely go through, experiencing these shock waves, tidal waves, monsoon waves of emotion, and feeling like you're being washed up to shore half dead, but coming out alive. And experiencing the sunshine on the other side of that, and getting to ride off into the sunset. That's very much what's happening in this card. We have the white horse ready to ride off into the sunset after the picnic, and the pink sunset in the background. I'm hearing a Pink Skies at Night, Sailor's Delight. And Pink Skies at Morning, Sailors Take Warning is about like an oncoming storm. So the fact that I was hearing Pink Skies at Night, Sailor's Delight is like, the storm's about to be over. Let it come, let it pass, and you're going to be able to ride off into the sunset. This is going to be beautiful. This is going to be joyous. Let Spirit reassure you that there is another side waiting for you. And just dive in. Just dive in. What else do we have for pile 4, Spirit? This has been a really beautiful message, and if you've stuck around through this message of emotional turmoil and shadow work and what it takes to get through difficulty, I applaud you and I thank you for it, because I know this is not like the fun, lighthearted stuff that a lot of times we seek out pick a card readings for funsies for. 8 of Wands. This came out in which pile was it? I think it was pile 2 this came out in. This is really talking about what's on the other side for you, getting ignited again, being lit up again. We were talking about the fruits of your labors and getting to experience happiness on a new level because there's space cleared for it in your system where the unprocessed past has been clogging up the works and clogging up the pipes. It's like the electricity will get to move unimpeded and light you up after this. And celebration, you deserve to celebrate yourself, you know, with flowers and a picnic and self-care and singing bowl meditations and fireworks. Like when you are patting yourself on the back for having braved something like this, braved an experience of escorting yourself through the shadows, through the valley of death, so to speak, to borrow a phrase from the Bible. For some of you, this is speaking about romance, because we have the fireworks here right after the sunset and the roses and the Knight of Cups. I'm being told the butterflies are speaking to the romance too. Why are the butterflies speaking to the romance, Spirit Guide? They're saying it's just a symbol from your ancestors for some of you that is leading you on the right path to loved ones. Some of you have ancestors that are invested in guiding you towards your future partner or partners or friends. And the butterflies are a sign from those ancestors, specifically the monarch butterfly I'm getting for some of you. Particularly for some of you, it might be a grandmother that's coming through. Yeah, I'm hearing like a New York or Boston Italian-American grandmother giving this, that's coming through as like this grandmother is having a conversation with this figure in the Knight of Cups, giving him the shovel talk. Like, you better treat my grandchild right. But they're doing it in this kind of wink, wink, nudge, nudge way of like, I know they will. I know this is the right one. Trust me. I wouldn't lead you wrong, because I would give the shovel talk to anyone who was the wrong one. I would steer you away. You're very protected, Pile 4. You're very divinely protected and very divinely guided and very much being nudged and led and guided and protected by your ancestors, who really want you to find love in every way, both romantic and love of life. Zest for life is a big 8 of Wands energy. 8 of Wands is also this like gush of forward movement, very sudden, fast, rapid movement, like an explosion, but also progress. So this is also speaking to the light at the end of the tunnel in that regard, where on the other side of this resistance to emotions, there's this burst of forward movement in many dimensions of your life, where you may not have even realized that the emotional stagnation was actually contributing to holding you back. And some of it is going to be a domino effect. It's not going to be, the next day or the next hour after you have this emotional release, you immediately experience the promotion at work. But maybe in a week or a month you do, after, experiencing all the stress relief from the emotional catharsis. Maybe that then dominoes into all these other areas of life, because we have this radiance and this firework explosion energy from the 8 of Wands, where it radiates out in all directions and permeates all the areas of your life. And some of them it's going to reach faster than others, depending on how far away from that center it is. I hope that makes sense. This did come up in pile 2, so if you were drawn to other piles, that may be confirmation for you. Take that as it resonates. What else do we have for pile 4? Please, Spirit Guides. Don't be afraid to be the match, is something Spirit just said. Parts of yourself have to be lit on fire in order for the firework to reach its zenith. Don't be afraid to be the match. Don't be afraid to be a light. Help me put this into words, Spirit, because it's not. Help me put this into words, Spirit. There are parts of yourself that you actually have been wanting to change, or parts of your life that you have been wanting to change. But because you've been identified with those habits or beliefs or parts of your life, situations, circumstances, personality traits, because you've been identified with them, the idea of setting them on fire or sacrificing them on the altar of becoming the future self that you actually want to be and having the life that you actually want to have has been scary, because it seemed like cutting off an arm. And Spirit is gently nudging you to realize that these things, you've been identified with them, you've adopted them as part of yourself, but they aren't actually inherently a part of yourself. It's a habit, it's a belief, it's a pattern, it's a personality trait. that you can actually change out for a different outfit. You can treat it as something that you've been trying on in the dressing room and that you actually decided you don't like. It can be as gentle and harmless and simple and painless as that. And if it feels more embedded and ingrained, and it does feel like you have to burn it to ash in order to be able to replace it, that's okay too. Because it's not the same as setting yourself on fire. And you've been flinching away from it as if it is burning yourself, and Spirit is gently nudging you like, no, set the fire. You're gonna realize it's not you that's burning, it's just this old set of clothes. You're gonna realize that you can actually withdraw your energy from that thing that you identified with, and it won't hurt you a bit to destroy it once you stop identifying with it. In some cases, it's as simple as, for example, an emotion of guilt or shame that once you stop identifying with it and just sort of look at it and feel it the same way you might feel the texture on a knitted scarf, or reach out and touch it with your eyes closed and just be present with it and feel it. The moment you do that, it starts to be uncorked. It starts to flow. It starts to move and release and leave. Sometimes it's as simple as that. Judgment. Oh my gosh, we were just talking about what have we been talking about this whole time? Releasing the ghosts of the past, releasing visions of yourself that you no longer identify with. It's like this being is on the cusp of exhaling this ghost of their past self. That's 100% what you're being guided to do and what will serve you best at this time. Release judgment as well. For some of you, that judgment of self and what you, like the negative things you've been making, either the emotions or the resistance to them or the stagnation or the past events mean about you, or what's been holding you back from releasing it. It's like, oh, that thing that happened meant I was a bad person who didn't deserve good things, and I'm scared to touch it as a result. And no, release the judgment of yourself, and even in a more neutral sense, release that identification of yourself with the things that happened to you or what you made them mean when you were 4 years old. Release that judging yourself, that judgment of yourself. That was not a final verdict. That was not a final judgment. That was not a final answer. Judgment can change, and it's high time for it to. And that will allow the curtain to be pulled back on more true present versions of yourself and more accurate assessment of yourself, more accurate beliefs about yourself and your life, and habits and patterns that serve you better. Beliefs that are more beneficial and more true and accurate. More sound. Yeah. It's like something that rings true is ready to be unmuffled, and it's been muffled by these layers of judgment, of identifying with what happened to you, identifying with what someone else made those events mean or what you made those events mean. And forgive your past self for not knowing better than to make those events mean those things. Like if you were, 4 years old, you didn't have, you should have had guidance to help you make sense of things in a way that was healing and beneficial and right for you. Sorry about shaking the camera. And you only made these things mean whatever you did when you were 4 years old. For example, maybe you made a catastrophe that befell your family your own fault in your mind, and developed obsessive compulsive tendencies where you had to go conduct rituals all the time to try to prevent other catastrophes from occurring. And that's not your fault if you made something mean that when you were 4 years old. I keep getting that specific number, 4 years old, and that may not apply to all of you, but it definitely does to at least one person here, because otherwise I wouldn't be getting that same number over and over and over again. And the OCD example is something that I am channeling from spirit, so I believe that is specific to some of the people here, but it's also going to be an analogy for other people here, where something similar happened, where they assigned a meaning at a time when they were too young to know better, and they've been holding themselves hostage to it ever since. And you get to be released from that grip now. So yes, if you needed a sense of control over your circumstances so badly to cope with the devastating helplessness and hopelessness when you were 4 years old, it's not your fault, and that's not something you did wrong. Forgive yourself for making it mean that. Release yourself from the ways in which you decided it was your fault when you were 4 years old, and also release yourself from thinking, oh my God, it's 4-year-old me's fault that I've been held hostage to this ever since. Because that's not true either. You were doing the best you could with what you had, and you should have had more guidance and more loving mentorship and someone to help shine light on what sort of judgments and meanings would have helped you make sense of it better. It's not your fault, and it never was. Okay. What else? Oh, and that 4 years old thing keeps coming through, and this is pile 4. Wow. The Knight is also a forward-moving energy, similar to the Eight of Wands. So there's some confirmation in that parallel here of like, there are steps that you're meant to take, thresholds that you're meant to cross that are creating a flinch back viscerally, like reflexively, from that sense that we were talking about flinching away from a stove or a fire that's going to burn you, that we were talking about when we were talking about not being identified with those aspects. And you're not, it's not going to hurt to cross that threshold or make those steps forward once you have this healing catharsis. And I truly, truly hope that this reading maybe even helps give you a safe space to, listen to a grounding voice while you cry, or scream into a pillow, or take a cathartic run or something, whatever it is, or just take a lot of deep breaths and feel these feelings moving through and out of your body. I hope this helps with that, truly, truly, truly. And it's okay if the forward movement doesn't feel as dramatic as the Eight of Wands makes it appear. It's okay if it feels like a few tentative steps. Remember what we said, speak your mind even if your voice shakes. You don't have to speak your mind loudly for it to be effective. It's okay if it sounds tentative at first. The important part is that you're doing it. A baby horse takes their first steps on shaky legs, but they still take them, and they become able to have these elegant long strides and gallops because of that. You're meant to experience those shaky first steps, leading you to the other side where your steps are no longer dogged by fear. I'm hearing The Dog Days Are Over by Florence and the Machine. The dog days are over. Okay. Six of Wands, yes, victory, 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 success, achievement, accomplishment. We have the laurel wreath, which is what the Olympians have been awarded with since the original Olympics in ancient Greece. And we have this pose similar to what a gymnast would do at the end of their routine. Accept your applause, accept your flowers while you're here. Yeah, you're meant to receive your flowers while you're here and not wait for your accolades to be awarded after you're gone. You're meant to receive your flowers while you're here. The Hermit, the 9th major arcana. We have this glow behind this figure here, and this figure is very peaceful, almost Like, you can't really tell in this card whether they're sitting on the mountainside or whether they're levitating. And we have the color matching between the Hermit and the Judgment card here. This image to me embodies the peace that you will feel after the storm, the peace that we feel after a good cry, after a good catharsis. It's going to make you feel like you're floating. And there's this duality between the Six of Wands having an audience and the Hermit being in solitude. Or allowing yourself to withdraw into, not withdraw. Help me, Spirit, help me clarify what's going on here. Help me clarify the dynamic here. We have this radiance from the Hermit, right? And it's like experiencing this catharsis will allow you to shine out like the glow here, like the Eight of Wands, so that you can feel calm and empowered in front of others, so that you can feel like you're embodying yourself fully in front of others, whether that is a date or an audience or colleagues or your family, shining out so that you can impact others who actually need the energy that you have to offer, the gifts that you have to share. And so that you can be seen by people who will be wowed and who will be glad, grateful that they got to see you, that they got to witness what you have to offer. Grateful that they got to hear your voice in concert, etc. I just heard carry the torch. Your ancestors are coming through again as they're applauding you for carrying the torch and making it blaze brighter than many previous generations in your family have been able to, because they've been dogged by these repeating traumas. And so we were talking about unmuffling the gong before, and becoming reignited on the other side of this storm. Your ancestors are cheering for you to make the fire of the gifts that are passed down through the generations of your family burn and blaze brighter and bigger and wider and be seen from afar more than it has had a chance to in many generations, because of the trauma that has been inflicted on many generations of your family. And the Hermit speaks to, like, this light is coming from deep, deep, deep within you, deep wells within you. This Judgment figure almost looks like they're at the bottom of a well looking up. This is not about looking good in front of others. This is going to have the side effect of the consequence of you shining out and reaching others who need to be reached and who will applaud you. But this is coming from within. This is coming from a place of caring about how your life feels and prioritizing that over how it looks. A lot of people out there are just working with the symptoms, just working with the optics. That's not you, and it's not meant to be you. You're going to shine out from within, and you're not going to need to prioritize airbrushing the optics, because you will have this light, this firework exploding from within, this light shining out in all directions, a raw light that doesn't need to be polished. I'm picturing like a raw gemstone. It doesn't need to be faceted. It doesn't need to be polished. It's glowing from within. You know how some crystals look like they're glowing from within when they're under the light? It's like you're the crystal and the light that's making it glow, you know? The stairs are also speaking to this ancestral succession that you're part of. Your ancestors, again, they're applauding you for going so much farther than your ancestors have been able to. Not to denigrate any ways in which you are standing on their shoulders, but to really give you your flowers, your accolades, admire you. Your ancestors are admiring you for how much you have been through to make it this far up the mountain, up the stairs. And like this figure in the Hermit card, you should get to enjoy the vistas. You should get to enjoy the view. You should get to unroll the blanket and have a picnic and stare into the eyes of your love and smell the roses and eat grapes while someone fans you, you know? Relish love letters like they're 4-course meals. Again, that number 4 coming through. A feast on your life. Yeah, your life is meant to be a feast and not crumbs that you steal in the shadows while you're hiding from the overhanging threat of trauma or of depression or of unsatisfying life circumstances or whatever it may be. Your life should be a feast. It's time. It's your time to shine and to enjoy and feast on your life and savor it out in the open. You're not getting caught. This is your feast. You're not stealing it from anyone. You're not going to get caught and be sent back to the mines for slave labor, you know? Like this energy of like, this is these feelings of like, oh, I can't like stop and enjoy the roses because I'm gonna get caught by some slave master and punished for it is like a strong aspect, a strong vibrational aspect, frequency of like the ancestral trauma and the experiences you've been through. It's like you don't have to hide in order to like steal little bits of enjoyment to make your life bearable. Your life is now a feast that you get to enjoy out in the open and enjoy with others, and you know, others will partake in it with you without robbing you of it and without saying you didn't earn it or don't deserve it, and others will actually go, good on her or good on him or good on them. Like, she's earned it, she deserves it. Like, I'm glad she's finally taking some time to sit back and relax after not taking a vacation in 4 years, you know? I'm definitely getting that some of you have coworkers who will be like, thank God so-and-so is finally taking a vacation, or family members who are like, thank God so-and-so is finally not beating themselves up for 5 minutes of the day, you know? Thank God they're finally not being a taskmaster to themselves. Yeah, that's part of the Hermit energy that's coming through as well. Like, on the other side of this storm of catharsis is the reward of getting to be with yourself without being at war with yourself or beating yourself up and holding things over your own head. Being a safe place for yourself, being your own friend and ally and nurturer and sister or brother or sibling or your own inner child's parent. Being a nurturing place and figure for your own self. There's a strong feeling of many of you associate being alone with yourself with the gut drop feeling of like, okay, what else do I have to do? If I'm not worrying about something, that means I'm missing something. So like, if I'm alone, then I better hop to and be productive because I have no excuse not to use my alone time for accomplishing something and taking care of something so that I don't have to worry about it later. And I am an effing useless waste of space if I'm not being active in that way. I'm lazy if I'm not producing, if I have nothing to show for my efforts or for my alone time. And this person instead is basking in their solitude, basking in peace and quiet, and my own company actually means I get to kind of revel in and bask in my own vibration. And then the 6 of Wands is other people basking in your vibration because you have this gorgeous vibration to share with the world. And that's been muffled by this being dogged, by being at war with yourself and task mastering yourself. So the way that you unfold, like a rose, like a flower, like a staircase, like a path, like a firework, is going to be so beautiful. and something that others will revel in, as well as you getting to revel in, whether it's in front of others or on your own. And I've just got these tears are going to be transformed from tears of joy, tears of sorrow, to tears of joy. Like, I just got this picture of someone tearfully accepting an award, you know, or tearfully hugging someone, accepting a hug from someone that maybe you would have not really let yourself sink into before. Maybe you would have pushed it away, or just kind of not mentally been present while the person hugged you, and you would have ended it a little more quickly than you really had to. And it's like, no, you get to really sink into that embrace now, whether it's your own or someone else's, and really find peace and contentment in both solitude and the embrace of others. Self-acceptance is going to allow you to accept the embrace of others as well. Accept love romantically and from people that you help by shining your light into the world. You're going to be a lighthouse. I'm not saying you definitely already aren't. You might very well already be. But your light is going to be amplified so much. We were talking about the flame, the torch that you carry burning so much brighter than it's been able to in previous generations. You allowing this storm to move through you is going to cause your beacon, your lighthouse, to burn so much brighter. You should not underestimate the power of your light to see others safely to shore. Of Monsters and Men is coming through again. Our body is safe to shore is one of the lines from their song. Gosh, I'm not sure. I think that's also Little Talks. The truth may vary, but this ship will carry our bodies safe to shore. I might be mangling that line slightly. Truth may vary. Yeah, I might be mangling that line slightly, and I don't want to sing the whole song to you in order to figure it out for myself, because sometimes that's what I have to do, is start the song from the beginning to get to the correct line. Yeah, there's this real feeling of you seeing yourself safe to shore, your ancestors welcome you onto the shore, and you being amazed at how much you don't need to like go outside of yourself and chase things and pursue things in order to help others. You just standing in your light on the shore without moving an inch or lifting a finger is going to see so many others safe to shore as well. You should not underestimate that. The beauty of this is something that defies words. There's this hush of awe that's overcoming me at the moment. Like the hush of awe at a beautiful sunrise or sunset, the hush of awe at seeing like whales or dolphins in the ocean. You are also that marvel, and your light is going to see so many people safe to shore. You don't need to move an inch or lift a finger. You just need to stop muffling, you just need to allow yourself to be unwound from the grip of things that are obscuring your shine, muffling the ring of your gong, etc., etc., etc. And that is a matter of releasing resistance. And sometimes that does require active effort and actively facing demons and wounds and putting an effort to heal them. But a lot of what you're being called to is letting go, stepping out of the way of your own process, standing down, laying down your sword. Long Story Short by Taylor Swift is coming through, and that came through in another pile as well. But it's different lines that are coming through. Faithfully I tried to pick my battles till the battle picked me. And then the second verse says, when I dropped my sword, I threw it in the bushes and knocked on your door, and now we live in peace. But if somebody comes at us this time, I'm ready. And it is a romantic song. It is about like I dropped my sword and stopped focusing on the wrong people, and I stopped pushing you away and let your love in, and now I'm all about this relationship. It's a really wonderful recovery song. Highly recommend it for that inspiration if it calls to you, if it resonates with you. But definitely some of you have either already met someone that you're kind of grappling with your own instincts that are warring between pushing him or them away versus letting them in. And some of you, it's more that opportunities for love are going to come knocking more and more the more you release these various components of resistance to it. And all types of love, every type of love that ignites you inside, like the Eight of Wands energy. And the more, like, this does also speak again to that releasing the judgment of yourself, because that is, I would argue, the primary component of self-love is releasing judgment of yourself. So self-love is also a very big deal here. Applauding yourself. Releasing judgment of yourself. Don't underestimate that. And don't write it off either. Don't go, oh, being non-judgmental is for other people. No, you're a person. You deserve that non-judgmental compassion as well. There's no ifs, and, or buts. Just release the judgment. Just do it. And sometimes that means, you hear a judgmental thought in your head and you kind of turn it on its head. You poke at it and you turn it around and upside down and break it down into its component parts and kick the tires. Go, is this true? Who is this serving? And what end is this serving? And is it serving it successfully? Or is it just trying to, but actually kind of self-defeating? And breaking down those judgmental walls brick by brick like that. I can feel this message winding down. I'm being drawn to the Tower and the Six of Wands. What are you drawing me to here, Spirit? Going from loneliness to being surrounded by people who see the best in you and applaud the light in you is what I'm getting. Going from being like a hunted prey animal, taking shelter in the night, to being seen in the light of day. And going from hiding the best in you to try and preserve it from people who would attack it, to realizing it's actually safe to show the best in you and showcase it, and to receive accolades for it and praise for it and love for it. Yeah, that's a big energy coming through, is that you've been, one of the ancestral patterns that you've been in has been diminishing your own gifts and self-deprecating and hiding your light, under a bushel, so to speak, to protect yourself from people who wanted to knock you down to make themselves look or feel better, who only knew how to big themselves up by making other people small. Bullies. In some cases, maybe people who are envious, but mainly what I'm getting is really abusive people who just didn't know how to find any light or power within themselves without being self-congratulatory over exerting power over other people. People who didn't know how to be anything but cruel. I'm hearing Mean by Taylor Swift now. Those types of people. Yeah. And those people don't have the power to hurt you anymore. And that is the reality that you are being drawn into. And that is a key to healing your past wounds and your past self, is bringing your past self, rescuing your past self and bringing them forward into the reality where the people that hurt them can no longer hurt them. In some cases because they're no longer around and you've put distance between them, and in some cases simply because you're a grown-up now and they don't have any say over your life or what you do or how you feel. They might say, they might keep up their chatter. I'm being given this hand motion in the background here by my spirit guides. They can yap and talk, they might, but you don't have to listen to it anymore, and you don't have to believe it. You don't have to buy those lies that they sold you anymore. You don't have to buy into their scams or their schemes. And you don't have to accept the place that they give you in the world. You get to come out on top of the mountain, of the stage, of the social hierarchy. It doesn't really matter as long as you come out on top in your own heart and in your own mind. Victorious, yeah. Any other messages for this group, spirit guides? I'm being drawn to the energy oracle. Final messages for group 4, spirit guides. Final messages for group 4, please. Final messages for group 4. Final message for group 4. Victory. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Number 28, Victory. The goddess Nike in mythology, in Roman mythology or Greek mythology. Just do it. Thinking about it is actually harder than doing it. Stop holding yourself back. Just do it. Something I said in pile 3 was the only thing you need to quit is holding back and holding in. Quit the overthinking and just do it. Are you going to let the thoughts that other people implanted in your mind of all the reasons they said you can't do it stop you from doing it? Or are you going to prove them wrong and prove yourself victorious, prove yourself right? Like, those thoughts may crop up. Don't let them stop you. Don't stop on their account. Those thoughts are not your measure. And what better way to stop those thoughts in their tracks than to prove them wrong? And we have, again, the wreath here, just like there, like you are really, really going to experience victory and be crowned in some way. You'll get to rest on your laurels in some way. You will have some sort of public-facing success, regardless of on what scale, you know, whether it's colleagues or friends, family, or something where you do gain more popularity. With the Knight of Cups, with the roses and the Six of Wands being having the applause, and then the victory with the laurel wreaths, there's definitely, in that message about the lighthouse, there's definitely a strong message. There's definitely a strong possibility of people in this group having some level of popularity, some sort of level of public notoriety beyond just their inner circle or inner several circles. But it doesn't have to be, you know, take it as it resonates. That might not be your goal. But it's definitely a strong possibility for this group. Getting your voice heard and your light seen by many is a strong possibility. You know, like in the Olympics, how they're televised and seen all over the world. I just heard blood, sweat, and tears when I was looking over at the teardrops card. It's like that blood, sweat, and tears of an Olympic athlete is recognized by everyone who watches. And we had the judgment card, like, that also speaks to there being the eyes of others on you in a certain way, where your relationship with yourself and your ability to judge yourself, or view yourself with non-judgmental, compassionate self-awareness, and be really grounded in that, and be rock solid like the mountain here, and have close loved ones like the Knight of Cups who affirm that for you and are very much allies on your side. This is, for some of you, part of why this is important is because with that, armed with that, you're going to be able to let any negative judgment from the haters sprinkled among the masses just roll like oil off a duck's, or water off a duck's back, excuse me. It's not even gonna matter. It's not gonna penetrate. We talked a little about this in pile 3 about how being really like married to your vision for the future creates, you're being really married to your purpose and just in love with the way that you are living your mission on a daily basis, makes it possible to kind of live in this bubble of divine protection because you are focused on your North Star and nothing can knock you off course. So that is at play for some of you here, where there's this victory will be quite public and being anchored and really allowing yourself to be surrounded by the love of your ancestors and your inner circles and allies is going to be something that you will enjoy no matter what, and just be bonus additionally grateful for, because you'll feel how it protects you and insulates you from, cushions you from those few people sprinkled among the masses who are haters and judgers instead of, adoring fans. Those people who try to throw rocks at things that shine, to borrow another Taylor Swift lyric. That one is from the song Hours. People throw rocks at things that shine, but people throw rocks at things that shine, and life makes love look hard. The seas are rough, is that what it is? I'm blanking on some of these lyrics today. The seas are rough, the water's high, but this love is ours, something like that. I think I might be getting the exact word wrong there. It might not be seas. But regardless, this love is yours. This love is ours. It's not theirs to speculate if it's wrong, is something she says in that song as well. It's not. And those types of judgments will roll right off and just not even faze you on the other side of you healing the self-judgment and really bolstering yourself, allowing yourself to receive the support of those who truly cherish you and love what you have to offer and love you. Because there are a few layers here. I'm seeing like 3 tiers, like your inner circle who really love you and support you no matter what, who would be there at the end of the day no matter what, whether you succeed or fail, and who view you exactly the same, because it's not about success or failure. They just love you and you love them just the same. And then there's the circle beyond that of like collaborators who will work with you and ally with you regardless, but maybe are not intimate with you in that way. And then there's that 3rd tier of supporters, like fans, if that applies. It could be colleagues who don't directly collaborate with you, if that applies, whatever it may be, but supporters who love what you have to offer and don't know you on a personal level, but are cheering you on and maybe paying for your work or whatever the case may be. I'm seeing those 3 tiers very clearly, and those 3 tiers are like concentric circles or spheres around you. Well, when you're buffered by them, you don't need to be looking at the comments on social media. You don't need to care about the few people who really aren't giving constructive feedback, but are just trying to tear something down, just trying to throw rocks at things that shine. The thorns on the rose, so to speak, will not prick you. You'll get to just smell the roses. Yeah, this image, this goddess in the victory card, it almost looks like they are closing their eyes to breathe in the smell of the roses. There's this, they're crystallized in the moment of savoring their success and their victory and their triumph. And that is a feeling that you're going to get to bask in and revel in and enjoy yourself. Any other last messages for pile 4? This has gone on longer than the other piles. I'm going to have to find out whether it's possible for me to post these all as one video, or if I'm going to need to post them as separate videos instead because of the length. So we'll see how that goes. Okay. I'm being drawn to the Spirit Song Tarot. They are just keeping them coming today. Spirit Song Tarot. Final messages for this group. Group 4. The teardrops group. Final messages for group 4, the teardrops group, Spirit. 4 of Cups, soul searching and reevaluation. This speaks to that moment of emptiness after the catharsis, and how you can go into a state of wallowing and lamenting and stagnating, or you can go into a healthy state of processing your grief and feeling it and allowing it to flow and allowing it to move you in the direction of the dawn after the storm, the sun after the storm. And so that might be, those of you who are here, some of you who are here may have already gone through this emotional catharsis, or maybe in the process of winding it down, and you're at this sort of crucial crossroads moment where you could kind of hold yourself back from crossing that threshold and making those next steps we talked about earlier, or versus allowing yourself to move forward. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with wallowing, like take a day in bed when you need to rest, but when it goes beyond resting into that stagnation type of wallowing where you're holding yourself back and making yourself depressed, that's when it's time to reevaluate and let your soul searching propel you forward. This egret has their gaze locked on a target. You know, the egret is a bird that stands very still and then kind of launches its beak at, you know, these shellfish and mussels and things like that, or at fish that they can stab and hunt. You know, like many birds, they really lock onto their prey and home in on that target. And some of you might be getting ready to gear up for that, like, self-propulsion forward from a moment of pause and rest and recovery and recuperation from this tower moment. Some of you are already in that phase. Some of you are still in that tower moment. And this is being mentioned to help guide you, like to help prepare you. Like, remember, at the end of the storm, don't, lock yourself in your room for 4 days, you know? We have that number 4 coming up again and again as well. Pile 4, the 4 years old, the last 4 years, the 4 of Cups. Yeah, really interesting, yeah. It's also the energy of, like, don't focus on the half-empty part of the cup. Focus on the fact that the cup is refillable. When you've emptied your cup of the things that you needed to catharsize and release, if catharsize is a word, I think it is. When you've emptied your cup of that stuff, remember to refill it. You don't need to stay there staring at and crying over your empty cup. You get to go refill it from a well of love and positive emotions. And this is also harkening back to that really fundamental self-care. Hydrate. Feed yourself nutritious food. Eat 3 meals a day, even if you feel a little bit like unsure of your appetite. Even if they're small meals, you know. Really strong encouragement on that front from Spirit. Refill your cup. Do not wait or hesitate to refill your cup after the storm, after the catharsis. Refill your cup. Some of you are getting a little bit of a knock over the swat upside the head from your spirit guides on this one. You know how to take care of yourself. Do it. That just do it energy from Nike. You know how to take care of yourself. Just do it. Just do it. And that don't give more credence to your thoughts than they merit. Thinking is very important, of course, but overthinking is sometimes allowed to overpower us, and we assign all this meaning, all this judgment, all this weight and heft to these, and power to these thoughts that actually don't need to have any power over us. And we can decide to act in accordance with those thoughts or in a completely different direction. And those thoughts can simply be shed like the butterflies emerging from the cocoon, if that is what is needed. Any other messages for pile 4 spirit guides? Okay. I think this is going to be the last one. I'm being drawn to the messages from the Mermaids deck. This is a mega reading. I love it. Definitely a big crossroads for this group. This one, Spirit? Okay. Ask for help. This was at the back of the deck when I started shuffling, but then I shuffled and then it came out. Okay. Ask for help. Yeah. We were talking about opening up to love. This is not the time to shy away from it. This is the time to open the door when it's knocking and to go knock on its door and seek out your allies, seek out the people you can trust, seek out new people that you can trust if you need more. Ask for help from spirit as well, from divine source, from the universe. Ask your spirit guides in the universe to direct you to the people you can trust who can be your new allies or you can reconnect with on a deeper level. Ask spirit to help you with filtering out the people you can trust versus the people you can't. Listen to your own, we have this shell here that the mermaid is listening to. Listen to your own heart. Listen to your own heart and answer its cries for help. When your own being is asking you for literal or metaphorical food and water, you know, for things it needs emotionally or physically, you know, whether it needs movement, whether it needs validation, whether you need emotional support and intimacy, whether you need cuddles. When your being is asking for these, listen and strategize ways to meet those needs if they aren't immediately available. And this mermaid has this gold sheen to them, kind of champagne colored scales, and we have the gold on the victory as well, and the fancy dress in the Six of Wands card, and the date in the Knight of Cups. There's like this emphasis on you being golden and not needing trappings to validate that, but shining your light out and being worthy of, you know, ball gowns and parties and events and applause and flowers, should those things, you know, literally and metaphorically. It's like you're worthy of that energy, you're worthy of that, those accolades. You are golden. There's no reason for the outsides not to match your golden interior. Ask for help celebrating yourself. Like, reach out to your friends or your allies or your family or your colleagues to celebrate an achievement. You know, if you have achieved something hard at work, or if you feel complete in your catharsis, you know, reach out to your coworkers to go out for a drink or a dinner after that achievement at work, or reach out to your friends like, hey, I want to celebrate this amazing thing, the amazing way I've just gotten through this really hard thing. What do you want to do this weekend? You know, reach out for help on that regard, as well as for shoulders to cry on when you're going through it. Reach out to help for people who will bring you groceries when you've had your day watching sad movies and you're realizing that you need to rehydrate from all the crying, you know? Back to basics. And don't be afraid of letting yourself be celebrated in small ways and in elaborate ways, you know? It can be a gala, it can be an award ceremony, it can be a movie night with your friends, doesn't matter. Just allow yourself to be celebrated and don't be afraid of that. Thank you so much for being here. I'm definitely celebrating you, Pile 4. I'm so happy that I got to bring through these messages for you today, and I truly hope they've resonated. Please comment to let me know if they have. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you'd like to see more from me. And check out my website if you're interested in personal readings. It's been wonderful reading for you, and I hope you have a fantastic day.